What's good, everybody? Man, it's your boy Jay in the building. We is back again with another video. Now, before we get this video started, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Make sure y'all share this video. This is the big one. The biggest game of the year, HBCU football wise. Now, I am gonna react to Miles College and Clark Atlanta because that is happening this weekend. That's a big one in the SIAC. Of course, I'm reacting to Livingstone and Winston-Salem this weekend. I'm going to react to that. Alcorn State going to Southern for their homecoming. I'm going to react to that because that's a big one, especially for the West Division. But, of course, we all know why we're here, man. This weekend is very special. This weekend is going to have a lot of playoff atmosphere at different places. But this one right here is the big one. Now, Jackson State alumni and fans, let me tell y'all something. I would be so disappointed in y'all if y'all don't pack that place out. I would be so disappointed. The fact that y'all had to travel to Florida for 3 years straight to play FAMU, and now y'all have the opportunity to play FAMU at home, y'all better fill that place up. I'll be disappointed. Matter of fact, y'all should make that a very hostile environment. It should very much be a hostile environment, and I don't see why it shouldn't be. But let's get to the game. Whew. I think this game has the potential to be a shootout. And I say that because both of these defenses have weaknesses that each offense can exploit. Let's start off with FAMU for a minute. And mind you, I'm so down the middle, so I'm not picking sides here. So I'm not favoring one side over the other. I'm being totally honest. I'm being totally fair. FAMU in that defense, right? Their front seven has been awful all year long. They've been god awful. They don't generate enough pass rush. They don't force enough turnovers. And they can't stop the run. I say this often, and I've heard it a lot. You shouldn't accept anything in wins that you wouldn't accept in losses. And even in the 3 wins that FAMU has, they've gave up at least 200 yards rushing. Like, matter of fact, hell, throw the Miami Hurricanes game away. Throw that game away. They got their ass kicked versus Troy. They got their, in the front seven, they got their ass kicked versus Norfolk State. Granted, they won that game, and that's only because Norfolk State stopped running the ball in the second half. Now, the only game that I'll give them that the defense played particularly well is against South Carolina State. Now, granted, you can use the excuse that Eric Phoenix just got there not too long ago, so he was still trying to get acclimated with the offense. I'm not going to use that excuse, but I think FAMU's defense played well, especially in the fourth quarter in that game, to not only hold their offense in check, but to give FAMU's offense a chance to make a comeback. So I'm going to give FAMU that game. But against Troy, against Alabama State, their front seven was god-awful. And against Troy, the fact that they not only gave up 200 yards to one guy, they gave up 200 yards rushing as a team as well. And I'm going to say this, and I'm going to keep the same energy with FAMU versus Troy like I did with Jackson State and UL Monroe. I think they were both evenly matched teams. I think that game could have gone either way, and I'm not going to give them the excuse of, oh, they're an FBS team. Nah, that's not what Vegas said. That Troy was only favored by 4 points. Just like against UL Monroe and Jackson State, UL Monroe, they were only favored by 3.5. So everybody thought that was very evenly matched. So we're not going to give that excuse up. So I'm not going to give FAMU a pass for that. I'm not giving a pass for that. They also gave up over 200 yards rushing to an Alabama State team that only completed 4 passes the entire game. They completed 4 passes, and they still had a chance to tie the game in the fourth up until that fumble recovery toward the end of the game. But I think FAMU, if FAMU is not able to stop the run of Jackson State, they're going to have a long day. It's going to be a long game for FAMU, and especially since Irv Mulligan can run the ball, Terrell can run the ball, Jacoby and Morgan could run the ball as well. And hell, if they want to use the 2 quarterback system thing, I listen, I don't like it, but in games like this, with a defense like this that can't stop the run, sometimes you might want to get the other quarterback who's more of the dynamic runner and use him for read options. Use him for quarterback leads. Hell, quarterback power. However you want to use the quarterback, I think it can be applicable here. But the secondary of FAMU has been their best unit. I think Deco Wilson has been their best player. Eric Horn has been good. At times. But their linebacking core. And listen, I've said this before the season started. The only thing that I was concerned about with this team coming into this year was the front seven. I've been consistent with that. And so far, they don't have a guy they don't have a guy on that front seven that's special. I'm talking about somebody who you can generate a pass rush like how Jackson State has Josh Nobles or Phillip Webb. They don't have a guy like those two. They don't have a guy at the linebacker spot that is going to generate 15 or 10, 15 tackles that's going to go sideline to sideline and make tackles all over the field. I don't think they have that guy like how Isaiah Major was. They don't have that guy. So I think in order for FAMU to survive in this game, they're going to have to cause some turnovers. Like how Grambling State did Jackson State. Because mind you, it wasn't like Grambling State just outplayed Jackson State. It was the turnovers and the fact that Grambling State scored off them turnovers was the difference in the game. That was the difference. So for FAMU for them to survive in this game, they're going to have to generate turnovers because they only have 2 interceptions the entire year. They only caused 1 fumble all year. Like they only have, I think 3. Yeah, they have 3 total turnovers that they caused all year long. They're gonna have to do a little better in that department. But now let me get to Jackson State, cause like I said just a few minutes ago, Jackson State has a few guys that can go and get a sack, that can get a few sacks. The problem with them is that their secondary is a little suspect, and they're going up against a receiving core that's fast. And Daniel Richardson, he don't mind throwing it all around the field. He'll throw it to anybody that's open. They have a lot of weapons. From Gassett to Gross to Carter Johnson to Ace Cobb. Goldie Lawrence is starting to get in the mix. Marquise Bell is starting to get in the mix. They have a lot of, hell, they even use their running backs in the passing game. And that can cause the linebackers to have to play in space. And Jackson State has trouble doing that a lot of times. Like, hell, I just saw y'all play versus Alabama A&M. I was surprised they were able to score 38. The way y'all played in the second half of that game was god awful. The way y'all let Noel Bowden throw the ball up and down the field on y'all. Mind you, he only had 12 or 13 completions, but it was a lot of big plays. It was a lot of big plays. And maybe it's because y'all play a lot of man coverage. Y'all play a lot of man coverage because y'all blitzing, because y'all like your DBs and you like your guys in the front seven. If your front four guys don't get back there, it exposes this secondary. And they've been hit quite a lot. Now keep in mind, FAMU secondary ain't perfect either. Because sometimes they have to blitz in order to stop the run because they're not a good team when it turns to stopping the run. And you leave your DBs vulnerable for the pass. Just like Jackson State do. Listen, both of these defenses are not great. They're not great. But that's why I think it has all the makings to be a shootout. I think for FAMU, I think what they're gonna do offensively is they're just gonna spread the ball around. They're really gonna force their linebackers to move outside the box. I think they're gonna use their passing game to set up the run game. And for Jackson State, I think it's in vice versa. They're gonna use the run game to set up the passing. Because mind you, I think Jackson State has, they use their 2 or 3 receivers. They have Isaiah Spencer. They have Jonah. I think they use Terrell in the passing game at times. So Jacobian Morgan, I think he's gonna play it safe. I think Coach is gonna tell Morgan, yo, as long as you don't turn the ball over, we win the game. Cause quite frankly, I think I agree with that. I agree with if Jackson State don't turn the ball over, I think Jackson State can absolutely walk out of here with a win. Now, granted, they can throw an interception or a fumble. They can get one interception, and they can still have the potential to win. But I think if Jackson State plays a clean game, I think they can absolutely walk out of there with a W. I think they're going to use the run to set up the pass. They're going to be able to control the clock. Listen, if Jackson State is able to run the ball 35, 40 times like how Norfolk State did, like how Alabama State did, because granted, I think Jacobian Morgan is a much better quarterback than what Norfolk State has, than what South Carolina State has, than what Alabama State has. I think Jacobian Morgan is way better than them. So if the running game is working for Jackson State, FAMU is going to have a long day, dog. And listen, the same way it goes for FAMU's offense in going up against Jackson State secondary. If they're not able to keep up with that receiving core, it's going to be a long day for Jackson State. But I think this game has all the makings to be a classic. This game could be an automatic classic. But at the end, I have Jackson State winning this game. And if the crowd is what I think it's going to be, I think that adds another element to this game. I think that's another element that Jackson State could run with. And, man, I hope FAMU ready. Both of these teams are coming off a bye week, so both of these teams should be refreshed. Because, mind you, both of these teams are coming off of wins, but their defense performances, both of them were lack thereof. Like, they wasn't great, honestly. And I said it before. I think if Andrew Body plays in that game for Alabama State, I think that game goes differently. Just like I think if Alabama A&M had more time in that game, I think that game go differently. But shout out to both of them. They're coming together and they're clashing it out, and we about to see who gonna make a separation. I'm excited for this game though. I'm absolutely excited, and I can't wait, yo.